Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, there's a storm in the united opposition, and this storm has been brought by the results of the by-election. Now, talking about the storm, united opposition has two giant politicians, and one of them is the former Vice President Kalonzo and the former Deputy President RIGATHI Gachagua. And what is the cause of this storm?
Na wache hii propaganda kusema ati Wiper imeachia DCP vitu vyote Nairobi.
Na sisi tumepangana vizuri na kiongozi wa Wiper.
Now let's delve into these details. In Nairobi, RIGATHI Gachagua's camp secured the Kariobangi North MCA position. And to RIGATHI Gachagua, that was an indicator that he can get all the seats in Nairobi. That is, the members of parliament, the MCAs, he can get for the county, the governor, the senators, the women rep. So RIGATHI has an ambition of getting all those seats. But wait a minute. If that is to happen, it means the Wiper Patriotic Front must relinquish its quest to also control Nairobi. It means Kalonzo must support RIGATHI Gachagua 100%. Now here's the catch. Kalonzo decided to react to RIGATHI Gachagua's statements indirectly by blaming bloggers of the government who, according to Kalonzo, are trying to create division in the united opposition by claiming that RIGATHI Gachagua has indeed insisted that Wiper must relinquish its quest to control Nairobi. But what is Kalonzo saying? I want to pay attention to this response from Kalonzo.
Na wache hii propaganda kusema ati Wiper imeachia DCP vitu vyote Nairobi. You know, they have to try everything wagonganishe Kalonzo na Gachagua. Baitumu kwenda tu konganwa. Alama ezikana kebela geto ikioza kwesela Gachagua kuko yote.
Now, very well, ladies and gentlemen, based on that statement, and we had RIGATHI Gachagua make a pronouncement. It was not a reported speech. It's RIGATHI Gachagua who pronounced the words using.
Na sisi tumepangana vizuri na kiongozi wa Wiper ambaye ndiye amekuwa akisaidia ODM hapa Nairobi. Tumekubaliana kiti cha gavana kitachukuliwa na DCP. Kiti cha seneta kitachukuliwa na DCP. Kiti cha women rep kitachukuliwa na DCP. Tumekubaliana na Wiper kati ya viti 17 kati ya DCP na Wiper tutachukua viti 16. Na kati ya viti 85 ya ward between DCP and Wiper tutachukua 75.
That the whole of Nairobi must be controlled by DCP simply because Kikuyus are the ones who control majority of the businesses in Nairobi. Now, this is an issue which has gotten so many people discussing, and I don't mind us also looking at the matter because the matter has been responded or received with mixed reaction. There are people who are saying that this is the worst mistake that RIGATHI Gachagua could have ever thought of making. It is the worst mistake. I don't know whether it's a mistake, but just tell us below on the comment section whether you think that RIGATHI Gachagua's statements are a total violation of the principles of leadership. It talks about Kikuyus controlling Nairobi. Now, we all know that Nairobi came from the Maasai community. That's what we know. But if you look at the business owners in Nairobi, it's true that majority of them are controlled by Kikuyus. But then let's ask yourself a very simple question. Will that translate to the votes? Of course, we know there are people in Mount Kenya who will not vote for the united opposition. They will vote for the RUTO faction. That is the true position of what's on the ground. it's not sure, there's no surety that all of them will vote for United Opposition or all of them will vote for DCP. Even if you go to the Kariobangi seat, the biggest mistake there, or the reason why, or let's say, if you go to the Kariobangi North seat, you can't say that the votes, all the Kikuyus voted for the winner. There are people who didn't vote for the winner and they ended up voting for someone from the other opponent. So that is something we expect. So we can't just crucify Kikuyus because of Rigathi Gachagua's statement. But Rigathi is a politician and he has ambitions. Now he has realized that the best thing for him to do is to side with his community. Well, that is Rigathi Gachagua's game plan, and maybe it's working well for him. He can't really advocate for all the communities. So he has chosen to stand by his community. Of course, that is his own strategy of winning votes. But let's go to the maths, ladies and gentlemen. Is this justifiable? Can what Rigathi Gachagua was saying, can it work? That is the problem, ladies and gentlemen. But Kalonzo is saying that that is not something that is party to. So let's look at what people are saying regarding this outburst. Someone by the name James says, even if such an agreement exists, it doesn't reflect the will of Nairobi residents. Democracy is about voters choosing, not leaders dividing positions among themselves. Jonte says, Rigiji will soon be impeached from the opposition. El Rema says, the guy thinks that because he is the loudest Debe, then he can dictate everything. The only person he can dictate is Kalonzo, because Kalonzo sees him as a god and the key to presidency. Okay? David Ofula says, I don't support opposition, but let me say this, because they are Kenyans, SKM should focus on presidency and dissociate himself from Wamunyoro. Charles says, unless Nairobi is a mountain. Felix says, greed will split them up. Edwin says, now you'll know why Mukisa Kitui went silent as the coalition spokesperson. Rehab says, Kalonzo achana na huyu mtu kabisa. Martin says, he's being selfish na hatukubali hii. Kalonzo pia naye asikubali kubebwa dogo. Let me just go through the last two. Don Mark says, hata sisemi kitu. Rigiji needs to live with his word of being a truthful man. If there was no agreement between him and Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, then he is lying. And that is wrong for someone who has labeled himself a truthful man. Churchill says, the reason why I'll vote for William for a second term in office is because of the confused United Opposition. No agenda. Their slogan is only one term. Kasongo, you must go. Okay, let me just rest that these reactions there. But the focus here is on the Kalonzo Musyoka and Rigathi Gachagua faction. Who will blink first in terms of the Nairobi politics? Who? Just tell us below in the comment section. Who do you think should blink first? I know Kalonzo Musyoka is a person who is going to blink first. Why? Because he has his eyes on the flag bearer position. Rigathi knows that that flag bearer position has already gone to Kalonzo, so he wants to control numbers. He wants to get more governors, more members of parliament, without anyone interfering with him. Rigathi is very smart, by the way. He knows that 2027 is very tricky because Ruto will want to secure a second term at all costs. So it's very tricky. So Rigathi is aiming at 2032. But for him to attain the 2032, he needs more foot soldiers. And that's the main reason why Rigathi is coming up with this narrative. He wants to have total control of Nairobi, Mount Kenya, so that in 2032, when he finally throws his weight behind the quest to become a president, then he shall have numbers. That is the strategy of Rigathi Gachagua, ladies and gentlemen, the former deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. So right now, his focus, the math he has, get more members of parliament, get more MCAs, get more governors, so that you can have a strong base. The second strategy is to now focus on the highest office. That's going to be on 2032. That is my own thinking of Rigathi Gachagua's politics, ladies and gentlemen. So Perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Till you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.